Assalamualaikum, hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Football Moshla podcast. Usually we talk about FPL, Champions League, and so much. But today, as you can see, your eyes will be lit up with the Manchester United logo. We have three different perspectives, three different jerseys here from different part of the world. We got people from Bangladesh, Queens, and different parts. Today we have my childhood friend all the way from Toronto, Canada, Fazle. Fazle, please warm welcome to our podcast, and please say something about what brings you here today.
Well, thank you, Fardhan. Thank you, Kazi. It's great to join this for the first time. I was very excited, been thinking about doing something like this for a while. So I'm glad that I've had the opportunity following United for close to 20 years. I would say even a bit longer. The
Definitely.
last 10 to 12 years have been wilderness years, but I'm very excited for ending up 17th and winning the Europa League unbeaten. So,
Some very much positivity here as we expected. I mean, it couldn't be a prouder moment for Manchester United that we have been shat on the entire season because of our Premier League, but we are the only unbeaten team in Europe. And don't forget, guys, my wonderful co-host.
Ghazi Adil, welcome Fazle again. Thank you so much for joining us and doing this. We are excited. আমাদের ম্যানচেস্টার ইউনাইটেড ফ্যানদের এমনই অবস্থা যে we celebrate 17th and winning the Europa League because we will actually play PSG or Inter Milan in the UEFA Super Cup. Bring it on. So that's in August. But yeah, Manchester United, all about Manchester United. So we're gonna talk about a few things. I think we're gonna talk
mhm.
about the transfer rumors, the 3-5-2 formation, the strategies. Can Manchester United actually win the Europa League? And last but not least, we should actually start with this, I guess. Should Manchester United sell Bruno Fernandes to Saudi for 115 million pounds?
We'll definitely get to that. Now, the what makes
Yeah.
what got me excited that Fazle doesn't on not only has a different perspective on Manchester United, he is what should I say? He's addicted in a different way. He has Manchester United content throughout the day. He has more knowledge than me for sure. I used to look up to Adil for all that knowledge, but I had a conversation where he told me about Kobe Menu, some things I didn't know. He told me about Hoyland, some things I didn't know. He even spoke about tactics, how it would help Manchester United. So please, Fazle, let's bring you in.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I was telling you earlier today, I think I listened to 5 YouTube channels and 3 podcasts, which is a very unhealthy amount of football and United content given this season, right? So, for
Definitely.
my mental well being, we really need to win Europa League.
Are we talking about the United stand by any chance?
Yeah. Well, United Stand, I started watching that earlier, but it has become, it's interesting how that evolved. It became very toxic.
Yeah.
And now Goldbridge tries to be very like, oh yeah, I'm kind of neutral. I want to because he's growing his other channels. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's I think the best one out there is probably United's People TV.
Hmm.
I mean, they're probably the most well balanced out of all of them.
And then definitely there is our channel too, right?
Absolutely, yeah,
Just we don't focus on Manchester United just, but I
yeah,
guess we can give a perspective and an objective perspective, right?
yeah,
That's where.
exactly.
But yeah, I
Should
mean,
should we start from that extraordinary Fergie time winning thing that we did? Should we kick off from there, guys? Against
definitely
Leon.
like Leon,
Yeah,
Leon. Yeah, we can
Was
definitely.
that the turnaround? Was that where the momentum shifted and Athletic Club 3-0 up against Athletic Club? Was that expected? I mean, because I was very scared about the Williams brothers, and Adil kept on saying it's not a problem.
yeah.
So what is it, Fazle? What was it? What caused the
I
shift?
I I honestly can't tell you. I think to be honest, it's one of those things where because we've been again I always highlight that we've been in the wilderness years, right? So I've seen a lot of United games where we haven't really played well, even under Ten Hag, right? But we go and get the goals, right? You capitalize, you suck in the pressure, and when it's your time, you get the goals. And I think that's what happened against Athletic, right? Because if you remember the first 15-20 minutes, like, we were on the back foot. I was like, this goal is coming, like, and it's not going
Yeah.
to be one; it's going to be two, three goals back to back, right? And then I think Lindelof gave the ball away on the halfway line. He tried to bring it out, and then he was hurrying back, and then he made two unreal blocks, right? And I think maybe that was the shift. And I think for the first time, we actually decided, you know what? and maybe it was Harry Maguire, right? He decided, you know what, I'm just going to put a cross in, right? And I think just taking that one chance, I think that's where it shifted. And I think the other thing that we did really well, and I think we've been seeing this slight gradual improvement. I think our pressing from the front foot has been a lot better, and I think having Ugarte and Casemiro in the pivot allowed the other teams to kind of, other players to push up, right, with Dorgu. And you know what, Dorgu was also getting a lot of flack before the game and during the game, but I think it was his foul that actually won us that free kick, which led to the first goal, right? Like he was being physical. He wanted, I think, cross the halfway line. Bruno Fernandes does a free kick, pretty bad free kick, but then Maguire crosses it in, and the rest is pretty much history, right? And I think even the second goal, the penalty, Hoyland did something that he didn't do the past few games or the past 20 games. It's actually run towards the goal, try to get across, right? That's how he wins the penalty, right? So again, it was unexpected, but I think it was a case of us actually taking those chances, because I think I've seen this season, like we've seen it, right, where we've had that period where we were dominating, we were creating chances, but we were just not scoring, right?
The finishing
So
wasn't there.
the finishing wasn't there. I mean, I think it says for itself, right? Like we have
Definitely.
our goals are. I mean, if you look at our goal difference in the Premier League, it's
Yeah, it's a
laughable.
godsend. At
Right.
one point, it became like, oh,
Yeah.
we scored. I'm subscribed to
Right.
Fatma and I get
Yeah.
notifications. So most of
Right.
the
Right.
times, the other team scores and I get notified. And
Yeah.
but when I score, I hurry up to see how we scored it, who scored it, was
Right.
it set piece or not. So
Right.
because at one point I was close to giving up, and Adil was the one who was like, don't give up, don't give up. And he
Yeah.
kept on shouting on Europa before the group stage started. He kept on saying Europa Jitbo. He kept on saying that.
Yeah.
So
And I also have to give Amorim a little bit of credit here, because we have performed away at heart, during those games. Actually, we've played better when we're under the pressure, when we're the underdog. I think United team comes up on top when the expectations are against
mm,
us.
mm.
So we have shown that, right? City away, Liverpool away, Arsenal away. Like, you expect us to get battered in those games,
So
but I
there's no
think
pressure basically.
I think so. I think there was an overwhelming expectation. I think the other thing that really went for us, I think, and someone was pointing this out. I think the fact that the final is in Bilbao as well. I think they were too hyped for the game. I think they got too excited.
Mm.
And I think they already thought, you know what, we're already there in the final, right? This is our final. And I think they got too ahead of themselves, because that chance that the other Williams brother had right before, where he just
Inaki.
had the glancing header, yeah, Inaki Williams, right?
Hmm.
You expect him to score that, and I think it was like marginal, but you could see, I think, the excitement. I think he already saw the headlines before he even had the ball.
It's
So
true that, for example, Lindelof is someone Adil and I talk off camera a lot about
right,
how he might be slow, he's this, he's that. But for him to track back and make those tackles,
yeah,
it
yeah,
brings a lot of belief. Like, Adil plays
I
a
think
lot of
so.
outfield football. He
Right,
more than me, more than I did.
yeah.
I'm a different case. But one good tackle or one good pass can
Oh
uplift a
yeah,
team a different way.
exactly. It's all about momentum, right? And that's what happened. We took our goal and we just swung the momentum, and in the space of 5 to 10 minutes, I think we just completely swung the tide towards us. Now, having said that, I think if Bilbao scores early tomorrow, it's gonna be a whole different ball game.
Definitely, yeah. Momentum is
Right.
everything. And I remember there was a commentator for CBS Sports, Golazo, who said that if Inaki scored that header, do you think United would have been performing this way? Or that red card too worked in
Right.
United's favor. Bruno taking advantage of that. Bruno yelling at everybody that we have to
Right.
score more today, no matter what. And he kept on
Right.
pushing.
Right. Right.
His resilience and his presence have become better. He used to be a hot-headed headless chicken before we saw it the previous season, but
Yeah.
definitely he is becoming more of a
We
talisman.
basically need Roy Keane to come out and, have a rant at him every month or so, and Bruno will be. But again, Bruno is. I mean,
Roy,
I'm lost for words for Bruno.
Roy
I
Keane
think.
gonna get a ass whooping by the United dressing room if he steps foot. Because
Yeah.
I don't think the guy is a United fan anymore because he
No,
has some hard
I
feelings about United.
Yeah, I also feel, I think this happens across the board with these United legends, is that they're used to such a high level of standard, and they've seen that standard, that when they see these players, it's like they have this contempt towards these players, like, how could you let the standards fall so far, right? And I think their expectations is just not something realistic right now, where we are as a club, right? And I think one of the reasons why they really go at Bruno is because, I think, again, this is just an assumption. I don't have any insight
No,
intel,
it's
or
okay. Go for it.
yeah. I just think Roy Keane only deems Bruno in terms of, like, if you're comparing Bruno to the players he played with, I think he's the only one he can do that. So I think he goes in extra hard at him. But I don't agree what Roy Keane was saying about Bruno, not, like, about Bruno's character, because I think Roy Keane would have loved it if Bruno played with him. He
But
would have
Adil,
absolutely loved him as a player.
Yeah.
I think bring you in that we spoke about something that the football has changed so much since the days of
Hmm.
Roy Keane and
Hmm.
Bruno. The pacing has changed, the schematics have changed, the tactics are not as before. For example, a friend of ours, Shihan, pointed out, look at the quality of the Premier League. The goals are always in the box. There's always
Mhm.
tiki taka in the box. There's always a curler from beyond the box or near the box. Those worldies don't happen. Those screamers don't happen as often. The football has become way too tactical, and the pacing has changed. So what do you think? What do you guys? I'll bring you both of you into this
Well, I mean,
topic.
I've seen Roykin play. I've seen Roykin struggle against a Zidane, a Ronaldo-esque Real Madrid back in, I think, was it 2003, I guess, right?
Mhm.
So, and in 2005, Ferguson got rid of him. So I cannot say that Roykin played with these elite players, because from after they got rid of him, he played Darren Fletcher in center mid for some time, and then he brought in Michael Carrick way later, I think in
Hmm.
2006 or something like that. So in a
Yeah.
period of a few, even John O'Shea played there. So I mean, that's so Roy Keane would have struggled, 100% struggled against this. Whatever Bruno is doing, I don't think Roy Keane would have been able to do. Yeah, he could have broken up the play, I guess, a little bit, but I don't think he would have the legs, because it's so fast paced and it's so physical. He can shine with the physicality, the tackling,
Right,
yes,
right.
but because he had a Paul Scholes, so we always overlook the passing of it. But
Hmm.
again, those Paul Scholes and Roy Keane in this era would have struggled, because I've seen glimpses of it, because Roy Keane and Paul Scholes struggling against Zinedine Zidane, trying to get the ball from him, and Zidane is protecting the ball. So Zidane, and a lot of Zidane-esque style of play is happening now, right? So I just think that Roy Keane is a bitter soul at this point, because his ending at Manchester United was not the way he envisioned it, and that's why he just keeps on saying all this. And also, you have to remember, he is not a successful manager. He's failed at Sunderland and championship clubs, right? So it's not just in the Premier League. He also failed in the championship. So I don't. I mean, Jamie Carragher and Roy Keane, I take up with a grain of salt, like whatever they say, because they're bitter souls. They hate United. I mean, Jamie Carragher definitely hates United, but I'm not sure if Roy Keane hates United, but I don't think he likes United anymore. And he just, there was a interview that he said he's not a fan of United.
No, I think he's a Tottenham fan, and yeah, I think you're right. I think he's bitter about how it ended,
Yeah,
right?
he's just better. If
He's
you really want
bitter.
to see a fan, it's like Ruud van Nistelrooy. He was the fan. Like, he came back. That's something that you see, the love of the club, right? You
Right.
see a Rio Ferdinand. Gary
Oh,
Neville is gig. I mean, I just don't get the Gary Neville, because he gets eaten alive by Jamie Carragher all
No,
the time.
I think with Gary Neville, he tries so hard not to be a fan that
Yeah.
he's going the other way, and he's almost disrespecting his own legacy. And Jamie Carragher should never be even in the same paragraph as Gary Neville. Gary Neville was, like, he was a starter for a decade, right? In a multi winning Premier League United squad year after year after year. That's one position that never changed, right?
on
Jamie
li
Carragher, yeah,
on live TV, if somebody like an
yeah,
iShow speed can come and
yeah,
shut up Jamie Carragher, I don't
yeah.
think we
No,
can. We
Jamie
cannot.
Carragher, yeah,
I would love
Jamie
to.
Carragher is at best an average defender, right? Who was
Hmm.
lucky enough to win a Champions League,
That's
right?
why he wants to be a like above average pundit.
Yeah.
or yeah, you know.
Exactly.
But should
He
we?
was a good pun. I think the other thing as well, I think Roy Keane is also giving into the Roy Keane persona that's out there, the hard
Mhm.
man, like that character that was based off him, right? In Ted Lasso, right? Roy Kent.
But I
He's
think,
more Roy Kent than Roy Keane now. That's what I find. That's the case, right? So he's really giving into that.
but I
I
don't.
Personally.
love Ted Lasso. I told Adil to watch it so many
I
times.
have
I
not
just
watched.
love it.
Sorry, I've not watched Ted Lasso, but
Season 1.
yeah,
That's
I'll
it.
definitely watch it. But
Yeah.
I have seen, and my belief is this: that Roy Keane coming into this United dressing room to say any word gonna get shut up pretty soon, because
It's a different
I
time.
don't think you're
Yeah.
gonna see different sides of different players, because Roy
Yeah,
Keane.
and the other thing I don't like about the leadership comment about Bruno, you can have different leaders, right? Like you don't need an armband to be a leader, and then you don't necessarily have to be uh screaming at people to be a leader, right? And yes, Bruno is petulant. So what? He's upset. He has every right to be upset. He probably if
Oh,
I was Bruno Fernandes, I would look around and I would think, why am I here? He deserves better, right? The
no, I think
fact
he
that he's
what he thinks is
sticking
that
with us,
I see this in training.
yeah,
Why the hell are you not performing on the field? I see you guys do these type of stuff in training, like some
yeah,
good stuff,
yeah,
but it doesn't come off during the matches.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think the tactics have evolved. So I don't think a Paul Scholes or a Roy Keane would have done. And also, to an extent, Paul Scholes actually showed that. And he came out of retirement, and then he's like, "Oh my God, I
Yeah.
cannot hang with these guys. So let me just retire again." So I don't
I
think.
mean, I think Scholes had more range. He could still play the ball playing defense, midfielder. And yeah, I mean, again, it was a different time. And I don't think the criticism towards Bruno is fair.
Yeah.
No, he did have his dip last year. I will admit that. He had an off season last year, but I mean, the guy's been relentless, right?
All right. So now this is a transition to this
To the,
segue about,
yeah,
should Manchester United sell Bruno Fernandes for 150 million pounds if an offer comes in, and it's pound, UK pounds,
yeah.
not dollars, just for easy sake. Let's say 150 million pounds will be what, 105 million dollars, something like that, around there.
No, I
Let's
think even
just
more.
even more,
Yeah,
whatever. Let's just
yeah.
say 150 million pounds. That's
150 million pounds. I
yeah.
mean, it depends from which lens you're looking at. If you're
Mm,
asking me from pure sporting, absolutely not.
mm,
We need a Bruno Fernandes, right? Even if and I think especially what he's done this season, where he has shown that he can be disciplined enough to play the eight or play at the base where he can dictate play and he can be less rash and actually control the tempo.
mm.
Definitely. I think I can see a Bruno Fernandes. I can see a Luka Modric. Like I can see Bruno stay here till he's 38 or 39. Now, if we take into consideration PSR and the financial hole we're in, then this is probably this is something you have to consider, right? Because you won't get that money from him. This is probably the last year, or maybe next year he might have some value, but that value is going to diminish. And I think which club was it in Saudi? Was it Al Hilal?
Al Hilal, yeah.
Yeah. So they sign Neymar. They're
They
the one
did,
that
and I
signed
think,
Neymar,
but
right?
mutual termination, so they have some
Yeah.
money left
So
over.
they're missing a superstar. So they're definitely looking to get a Bruno. 150 million could potentially fund like 5 to 7
No,
players
but
for us.
earlier today I was asking Adil that 115 million to bring another Bruno or someone better than Bruno. He kept on saying Cunha, but you cannot rely on Cunha,
No, but
right?
you
That
wouldn't
much.
really bring in a Bruno, would you? Like you
No,
would definitely you'd take that 150 and you would spread it out to get 7 or 8 players, right?
like Coutinho
Basically
was,
what Liverpool did with
but
Coutinho,
yeah,
exactly,
exactly, yeah.
right? And I think the way PSR works is that 150, so you get that money, but you essentially, because whenever you buy a player now, it's in installments, right?
Hmm.
So if you bought a player for 50 million, you're basically paying 10 a year.
Yeah, yeah,
So potentially a 50 million, if you have a budget of 50, you can fund 5 players. So
yeah.
150, you could potentially fund like 7 or 8 players, right?
Even I think 115, even with 115 or 120 mil,
Yeah.
right? Even if it goes to 150 mil, I'll be like, wait, where is send him? I'll fly him to Saudi Arabia, because here's my take on it. It's not nothing against Bruno, great player contribution wise, but I've seen players being replaced by Ferguson. Ruud van Nistelrooy was replaced by Luis Saha, not an out and
Mhm.
out replacement, but it made Manchester United more mobile.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Roy
Yeah.
Keane was replaced by Michael Carrick to an extent, right?
Mhm.
So he was not an out and out. So they started playing differently. So if Bruno is not here and then he's been sold, I think the 3-5-2 formation does not need a Bruno Fernandes. If you have a Mason Mount, a Garnacho, an Ahmad, and a Cunha, and on top of it, you will definitely have to bring in a midfielder. So maybe an Ederson,
Mhm.
From Atalanta, or even a Tyler Adams from Bournemouth. Let's just say, just
Right, right.
for like just to clean up the mess, right? So
Mhm.
Tyler Adams from Bournemouth, cheap, uh, Premier League
Premier League
proven,
proven, yeah.
yeah. So and then you pay the most money to get in a striker, maybe a Sesko from RB Leipzig, right? Sesko fits the bill. Um, Lone striker, you're gonna get rid of Hoyland, so Liam Delap is there, right? But you might need two strikers, so just bring
I
that
think
on.
we
So
need two. Realistically,
yeah,
I think we need two.
so
Yeah.
Zirkzee also can play as a number 10. So Zirkzee
Yeah.
coming back from injury, I don't think they're gonna
Speaking
sell Zirkzee. Yeah.
speaking of two, I feel like everybody needs a deputy, right? So if you bring in Acuna, you know that he's gonna, even though he can play 90 minutes, with the schedule that's coming up next season, you're gonna have FA Cup, you're gonna have Carabao, you're gonna have Champions League, inshallah, you're gonna have Premier League. So with all this schedule of rough, like we have seen teams who had a turnaround of barely 60 hours between two games. Arsenal had it, Liverpool had it, so United might have it too. So you need deputies. Mount is not a good enough deputy yet. We have seen him, in the past week also. He didn't do that good. So you need at least, I don't know, four quality CMs or two really good CMs or someone. For example, Casemiro, Ugarte, Meno, they're rotating.
Mhm.
Ericsson, all four of them are rotating in the central defensive area. So it's a good rotation, all four of them. But in the area of Bruno, who can really pull up the pants and come in? So for
Mainu,
next season, you
Mainu,
would need.
Mainu,
Okay,
Mainu,
okay.
Cunha, Garnacho to an extent. They're gonna convert him there. The Ahmad and also Zirkzee.
Yeah, and then you obviously bring in, yeah, maybe the other left wing back also contributes. Striker actually scores goals for a
Yeah,
chance,
you,
right?
you bring in a you
Yeah.
bring in a high paying like a high quality striker like
Yeah.
not a Hoyland level, but let's say a proven striker. Even I don't know, go for Ole Watkins, right? Just saying. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, but at
Okay,
least
just for the sake of argument. Okay.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean Ole Watkins coming in, right? So he's gonna play, and then the deputy will be Zirkzee. They can
Yeah.
rotate. And Cunha to Kilby. Cunha is gonna be in number 10 position. Cunha is gonna
For
definitely play.
example, Dorgu as a wingback is the only specialist wingback in that United squad right now. Everybody else is
Well,
not.
yeah.
No,
I
Harry
I,
Harry
I
Amas.
yeah, I think Amas and the other player we're getting in
Uh,
Diego Leon, right?
Pedro Diego Leon, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a
But
Paraguayan international
yeah,
coming in.
I mean, there are better options, but I think overall, I think what Inter and PSG have really shown this year by their runs, that I mean, and Liverpool to a certain extent, it's about the system, right? It's all about systems now.
And
Uh,
and mobility.
yeah, mobility, system, physicality.
Yeah.
As good as Bruno is, if it's like if you're talking those numbers, and again, sporting decision, I would keep him, right? There's
Mhm.
no reason to sell him, right? Like you keep him, his leadership, his contribution, you let you let the younger players learn from him. But just in the financial, and if we don't make Champions League, I think that's going to become even more evident. And he might not be the only player that we're selling. I mean, Garnacho isn't also an
Yeah.
asset that we could sell, right? Because Garnacho is pure profit for us when we sell someone like Garnacho. So yeah, Champions League is crucial. Bruno one is tough, right? If again the fan in me, the sporting mind would say no, absolutely not. But if you really take that, if you take that corporate view, that long-term planning view, yeah, that might be the case. But I think it also depends on Amorim, right? What Amorim says. Amorim might just say, you know what, I need him, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But
I think that's what he said publicly,
yeah,
and I think that I mean, I don't think there's a chance of Bruno leaving because Amorim was like, no, 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 I need him.
Yeah.
for leadership purposes, sporting wise, and all the stuff. So I don't think Manchester United are going to cash in. But if they lose out on the Champions League,
Yeah.
and if a Florian Wirtz or a Javi Simons are not available, or
Yeah.
then Bruno stays. If they are available and there is a £150 million offer coming in, and Bruno is what, 31, right? Is
I think
in
he's 31.
yeah. So from a physical point of view, I never played it professionally, but someone who plays it outfield, and I have seen it. When you pass, like that's why they say that after 32, the body takes longer time to recover, and I can vouch for that. I mean, my body started taking longer to recover after 34, but I guess that yes, you know even if you're fit, you lose weight, but you lose the agility to
Oh
an
yeah,
extent,
you lose
and
that
then
explosiveness. Yeah.
and so suddenly you're gonna physical wise you're gonna be downgraded, right? So I think it's
Yeah.
better to cash in. I'm not saying that I'm not privy to his fitness records, but I think he's a fit player. But I think that if a £150 million or £120 million offer comes in, just cash in,
Yeah.
um, and rebuild the squad with that money, like
Uh,
Liverpool did.
yeah, and I think the other thing to consider as well, the amount of minutes, the miles that Bruno have on his body. He plays nonstop.
Yeah,
And it's not like he's jogging around the pitch. He's going full
yeah,
100% full throttle, right? Every
He
single game.
he even tracks back to defense.
Yeah, so the way he plays, and I think we saw that with players like Rooney, right? They burn out much faster.
no,
I think a
Rooney had a
Modric,
drinking problem.
yeah, Rooney
Lifestyle.
always had and Rooney
Yeah,
was already, full built lad at
yeah,
16, right? So I think he hit
Rooney should have
puberty
should
much.
have been playing
Yeah,
like Ronaldo,
yeah,
right?
he should have been, but
Yeah,
I mean, Ronaldo is just a freak of nature, right? But I think going back, yes, it does make so much financial, especially where we are, right? Where we are, it seems like the smart financial move. Now the other case could be: does Bruno Fernandes want to go to Saudi?
probably
Knowing
Ev-
not.
his personality, he might just, because I could see him go to Syria and still do it, right? At 34, 35. So
even La Liga.
yeah, he can definitely do it. So
But if you're talking about selling, we also talk about Onana? Will he be sold?
Of course. Hell
I
yeah.
think, yeah, I mean, I think you have to at this point. It's just, you just see how we play. Like, there is no confidence in that person. Like, even the Old Trafford crowd is going in at him, right? So again, he's not Amorim's keeper either. I think we have to. I don't think we have an option. I think we have to
Yeah, I
sell.
think, and the rumors are like it's not gonna come out of the blue. So there's a Milenkovic Savic, brother of another Milenkovic Savic who actually plays
Okay,
in Saudi.
right.
Uh, he's 6'8". He's a goalkeeper, plays for Torino in Serie A.
6'8" is monstrous.
He is a monster. He's a Daka.
It's a monster
Like
from
if
us.
you look at him, he's a gangster.
He
Yeah,
And
looks
he's
like
gonna
the
protect.
avatar of God of War.
Yeah, if you see him play, he protects that deep the box like this is his yard.
right.
Yeah, so
So,
uh,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
reflex wise, he might not be up to par, but handling and like, handing, punching wise, he's there protecting the
Guys,
yard.
is there a scenario, coming back to Europa, is there a scenario where 3-3 happens tomorrow in the second leg? And will United be able to turn it around in the Old Trafford scenario? Do you see that Leon turnaround happening again? Because that Bruno Fernandes, Kobe Mainoo, Harry Maguire, Casemiro, whatever that thing happened in a matter of 7 minutes, it's not something. It took the limelight away from the Madrid Arsenal thing, and everybody started talking about Manchester United. That team started trending after so many years. I had people messaging me that, hey, you're in the semis, and that hasn't happened in a while. So, what do you guys think? Like, we have a clean shot tomorrow?
I think we do. I mean, and the news that the Inaki brothers are not going to be there. The Williams brothers are not going to be there
I
Yeah,
tomorrow.
did not know that.
and also
Yeah,
the striker will not be there. Sanket.
Sanchez.
Yeah,
I think it's Turkish. Yeah, so
yeah.
they're missing their three best players. So
I was
I,
not worried about the Inaki brothers because Dorgu, with his physicality, can take care of Inaki.
right,
I was just worried about Nico against Mazarawi since
right,
Dalo is not there.
yeah.
But I guess they're not. They're
I
they're
mean,
out.
I think they'll score. I think we will score as well. Yeah, to answer your question, if it goes to 3-3, I have no faith in this team.
No, to answer your question, I think if they're very nervous at Old Trafford, so it
Yeah,
has been. So if it's depends on if they can. I don't think we're gonna score tomorrow.
I think we might because they'll be open. Like they'll go for it, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, okay, okay. We will get chances whether we score or not
yeah.
is the real question, right?
It's Hoyland, so
It's Hoyland,
it's
exactly.
Hoyland,
So
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 you
we
don't know.
will get chances,
Yeah,
whether we score or not. But yeah, an early goal because I can see this playing out. I think the moment they score an early goal, I think we'll concede the second one, and then
I think we're
it's
gonna
all
lose.
downhill
I
from
think we're
there.
gonna lose 2-0 and go 3-2 on aggregate, right?
Right.
But if we score an early goal, then it's gonna be more like a basketball score, like
Yeah, I think it's really the first goal. I think if we
yeah,
score first, I think that's the tie done. If they score first, then it's going to be interesting, right?
yeah. So yeah, we're going to the final, but the problem is Tottenham in the final. There's an Ange
Yeah, yeah.
Postecoglou.
I'm still holding out for Bodo Glint because it's Tottenham.
I don't think we'll make
I'm still holding out for them because I don't want a Premier League team, and they've already beaten us 3 times. I mean, it would be the most Tottenham thing, right? Beating us 3 times and then losing to us in the final.
it. Oof,
But
that will be
yeah,
so rewarding at that
yeah.
point.
I mean, and it's going to be a great final if Tottenham go, right?
But they're not gonna have Madison, so that's a plus.
It's just that I just don't fancy us against a Premier League team. I don't know.
But
It's like,
Son is also not the same player like
yeah,
last season, so
San has gone through, but uh, yeah, it's the physicality that it's how they play, the direct style of play.
yeah,
That's what I'm worried about. And when you have Onana in goal, he's the ultimate equalizer, right? For the other
yeah. You
team,
have
right? So
Binder too, but Binder is
yeah,
worse than Onana.
I don't know which one's worse, right?
I think
So
Onana is still worse. Binder, if you tell Binder like do not do distribution from the back,
just play
do
it
not
long.
just do what Dega used to do, kick it out, just kick it out.
I
But
I have no idea. Like I don't know who taught Onana positioning. Like I'm not a goalkeeper, but I've seen the goalkeepers play. I have friends who are goalkeepers, but I've never seen anyone as unorthodox as Onana.
I
And
think because of his body, he has a lot of muscle, right? So it's harder for him to get down and save.
no, but it's not even that. It's like he tries to predict, but he always predicts. He always goes the wrong way. You'll
Yeah,
see a lot of goals. He'll jump one way, and because he's jumped one way, to
yeah,
your point, for his body structure, he can't shift again, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and I mean, what he's known for his distribution, I have yet to see. Now, that could also be a product of not having a set back line. I think,
No, he just kicks it out long.
yeah, but
No
even his kicking it
distribution.
as, I think it's everything. I think
Yeah.
it's just compounding factor after factor. It's just the end result is pretty bad. I think if we had Martinez, I think he was getting a little bit better with Martinez because I think he could trust him. But end of the day, yeah, I would sell Onana.
Of course, Onana is a sell, but we have
Yeah.
Luke Shaw, who we're not gonna sell, and we're gonna keep holding on to him. Is it
Isn't his
hammering him
contract up end of the season or no? Is it next season?
next 2026?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? He'll conveniently get injured before the transfer window opens, and he'll be fit like December for a few games, then go back to the injury,
No,
and
I
then
think
that's
he wants a new contract, so he's gonna stay fit this year.
yeah.
Like next season, he's gonna stay
Well, at
fit.
least he has competition. We know when he has competition, he plays well.
No, he gave up
So,
his left wing spot, so he left wing back. So he's gonna play
well,
a
now
left
it's
center
left
back.
center back, right?
Yeah,
So,
and Martinez. The reason they're not gonna get rid of him is like because they're not gonna be sure with Lisandro Martinez's comeback because from a knee injury,
I think,
especially.
yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly, I would move Martinez on. I think he's done.
Well, we have to
Whenever,
see.
traditionally speaking, whenever anyone comes back from an ACL injury, they're never the same. Ben Chilwell, whoever it is, I
Yeah,
keep
and
mentioning him in my podcast. They're
he's
never the
had
same.
he's had what? This is his third major injury in the space of 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think the way he plays, he plays that aggressive style on the edge. And I think if he doesn't play like that, he's a very average player, right? I think that edge gives him the advantage, right? Because physically he can't compete in otherwise, right? So I think that edge, that reading of the game. So if he doesn't play like that, then
But
I
he's
mean,
gonna. That's why he got injured. He shouldn't have done that to Sar. There was no need for him to do it.
yeah, again, the way he plays, and
Yeah.
he's going to get injured, right? So
Yeah.
and the point is, if he doesn't play like that, because when he came back, he was a bit hesitant in how he didn't go into tackles. He wasn't really going for the ball, and he looked poor. So I would move on from him.
No,
I
yeah.
love
Well,
Martinez. I would move on.
I know I love him too. Like, a lot of people say you're a Brazil fan, why do you support him? But he's been a great asset to the team. But
Yeah,
I was talking to Adil also about how much Lenny Yoro, like I even saw him put his head on the line to do a clearance. The last time I saw someone do that was
yeah,
John Terry. So he's really devoted to the club. So Yoro, I see him pulling up his socks and taking the place of Miss Martinez totally.
I
yeah,
have seen. I think I've seen Lena Euro play live when he was first signed in the United States. I went to see the Manchester United versus Arsenal game where
right,
Declan Rice got cooked by Kobe Maino
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
in that heat, right? So I I've seen. So Lenny Euro, I'm not surprised because only surprise was that he got injured. That was it. But he's real.
Apparently, he had that injury from before, and we
They
knew
just
about it.
yeah
Yeah,
they just like,
Mhm.
all right, let's take a chance because
Yeah,
Real Madrid was coming after him, coming
right,
for him,
right.
right? So
Yeah. No,
they had to sign.
he is in every sense a Rio Ferdinand, like the next Rio Ferdinand. Like he just glides across the pitch.
He's
He's so good.
faster than Rio Ferdinand. Rio
Yeah.
Ferdinand,
No, you know how Ferdinand used to play that
yeah,
effortless style, just
yeah,
bring out like he could just seamlessly play the ball,
yeah.
quick, reads the game. I think Euro is a real talent. If he stays fit,
And it's only
I
his
think
first season,
definitely.
so it's only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, we sometimes forget how young he is, right? So yeah, definitely he can get better.
And also Kobe Mainu, you see that he was away for a while, but I think he worked out a lot for him to become this buff CM. Like he's
Yeah.
now no less of a
See,
baller now, but his physicality has changed a lot actually.
like Mainu is someone I'm concerned about. I don't really know where he fits into this Amarin system.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he
He
fits as a number 10.
fits as a number 10, but then he's doesn't really cover that much ground.
Yeah.
His passing is limited. He's great. Like around the D, he's amazing. He just comes alive, right? And then you can't really play him as an 8 or even a 6. So
He was like, I was surprised that he did that to Declan Rice in a preseason friendly, right? But
yeah.
then he got injured against Real Madrid.
Hmm.
After that injury in preseason, he comes back. He still does good, but I think he lost. Then again, he got injured, and he lost that explosiveness that he used to have. Like not just explosive ball control and keeping the ball in tight spaces. That's what we missed for a long time, and Kobe Mainu filled that for
Yeah, I
even
mean,
against Manchester City in the FA
yeah,
Cup
yeah,
So
final
he
win.
can't be a number
yeah.
9, can he?
No,
No, no, definitely not.
no.
I mean, he could be that 10, but that 10 position is so stacked right now. Like, if you have everyone available, right?
Yeah, but if Cunha comes in, then that 10 is like that. Cunha gonna take that 10, and he's gonna have
Yeah,
bring the speed into it.
exactly. So where does Kobe Mainu fit, right? And question is, do you sell him then? Because that is
That's why,
pure profit as well, right?
yeah,
So
that's why there were rumors of selling
yeah.
Kobe Mainu,
So
bringing in Ederson,
I
and
think if we don't win Champions League, one of Garnacho or Mainu is for sure going. If
yeah,
we win, then it's a different scenario.
A part of me doesn't want Garnacho to go.
Sorry, Europa League, not Champions League. I'm
but
getting ahead of myself. Yeah.
Garnacho is more out than in. Remember Salah said it like that because
Yeah.
that's why they're playing him like this because so that the potential suitors or buyers can see him play.
I would still keep Garnacho. Because I think they were doing an analysis where they're doing GA, right?
Yeah,
For the season.
yeah.
I think he's 1 goal short of Nico Williams. And the only one in that age bracket that is much better is Yamal. And Yamal is generational, right?
Yeah, he's different.
If Garnacho is a good 7 out of 10 every game, I'm happy. He doesn't need to be a Ronaldo. Be half the player he is, and we got a very good player on our hands, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have to overperform his stats.
No, and I think it's decision making, and I think that you can improve. A lot of it is also, I think, Ten Hag just telling him, "Go on, do something," because
No,
that was the
I was
chaos
also
football, right?
telling Adil also that he sometimes he doesn't know. He's too overexcited. He's too hype. I think that his footballing IQ is still not up to the par. His
Yeah,
I think there's a sense of maturity that you need on the football pitch, some
right,
sensibility, and sometimes he
right.
just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know when to stop. He just wants to keep on going. And there was a friend of mine who was very younger than me. He said, "You know what? I think it's great that he got the Puskás. I think it's great, but I think it's too early for him. He should have gotten it maybe next season or something. But maybe
Yeah.
that Puskás kind of, gave him that superhuman ness that he thinks that
Well,
he's capable
yeah.
of anything."
I think he has supreme confidence, but which is a good thing, and you need to hone it, right? That's what happened to Ronaldo, right? He just went levels, right? He was extremely frustrating. I remember Ronaldo being, I mean, one of the reasons Van Nistelrooy left is because he got into a fight with Ronaldo on the training ground, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Fergie was like, "I'm going to pick Ronaldo," and Ruud left, and Ronaldo just became. Imagine if Ronaldo didn't become that player, right? He became a Garnacho instead. But so I think there. Long story short, I wouldn't sell him, but we might not have an option if we don't win Europa.
Very well put.
Yeah, I think Garnacho to an extent sometimes reminds me of a younger Ronaldo, frustration wise, right?
Yeah,
Just he doesn't have the step overs and the speed,
right.
but I wish Garnacho had a little bit more speed, than he could have
Yeah,
actually a half a yard of pace or one
he's
yard.
not explosive.
He's not
He's
explosive.
quick, but he's
He's
not.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
So I
not
think
Rashford quick, right?
no, he's not, and then he's not
Yeah.
Ronaldo quick in that
No,
age
no,
bracket,
no,
right?
no, no,
Ronaldo was
no.
like he covered up with the money. He because of his speed, he was able to cover all the frustration to an extent
Right,
at
right.
times. The young Ronaldo we're talking about,
Yeah,
not the Real Madrid finished article,
yeah.
right?
But
So
it's okay. When people go out from United, they do so good. Rashford, Anthony is about to play in a Europa Conference League final. Rashford got a taste of Champions League, even though Aston Villa didn't make it that far.
I wish them well, and I'll take that 50, 60 million that would come into the summer, right? And Anthony, please, by all means.
okay, so here's I have this question, and I think this is we
Yeah,
have to answer this. Let's try to be objective.
right.
Anthony doing good in La Liga, and is it a United problem because of Manchester United that he couldn't do, or is it? Here's the thing: is it because of La Liga suits his game because it's less physical, more technical, and Premier League is more physical and also technical and also tactics, right? La Liga is tactics too, but I don't think the caliber of like the La Liga has the top two, Barcelona and Real Madrid, then Atletico Madrid hit or miss at times, and then the rest is not there. But the Premier League has the top eight, even freaking now the 14 and 15 or 17 and 18 team are trying to play in the Europa League final, right? So Premier League has anyone can beat anyone on any time, any day. So is it a Manchester United problem, or
Before
is
you
it?
an Go ahead, sorry.
Mhm. No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Before you answer, Fazle, Anthony also, for example, the La Liga and everything. Anthony, is there a reason Anthony was performing like that because of the Ten Hag, how he tried to make him a Ten Hag player and not a Premier League player? Just adding a little bit of
Yeah.
Moshla to the question because we're in the Football Moshla podcast.
I think to add that spice, I I don't think it's a Ten Hag problem because he played under the Ten Hag system, right? I think it's a bit of both. I think majority is the physicality. I think he just couldn't cope with the physicality. Fullbacks were much stronger, much quicker, and I think what Anthony didn't have in his game is, and you'll see a lot of times like it's one or the other, right? You either take your fullback on and you drive him to the byline and you cross it in, which Anthony didn't have, or you chop in and out, right? Like the Riyad Mahrez move, right?
Hmm.
He didn't have that either, right? So,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
and he just became a one trick pony, and I think he got figured out pretty early. And also, the state of Manchester United didn't help. The price tag didn't help either, right? Remember, we valued him at 25. We could have got him at 30. The Glazers sat on their hands till it became 90, 95. And Ten Hag, in his desperation, just wanted a player. right?
But to be
So
fair, like
yeah,
he's not even he's the same Anthony style wise. He's
yeah,
not taking the defenders on the outside and the byline.
no,
He's still cutting inside. So
right.
that means that in the Premier League, your fullback, even if you cut in from the fullback, your center backs or your center mid defensive mids are covering and they're much stronger. And
They are much stronger. I think the other factor that didn't help him, I think it's also the right back we had. We had Wan Bissaka, who has. I mean, I love his tackling, but this,
I mean, look at Wan-Bissaka. He's West Ham's most offensive player, apart from Jared
I
Bowen.
mean, yes, but I don't really think that's the fullback you want, right?
There are a
No,
couple
I
of
mean,
players
no.
out
I
there.
would have loved to keep Wan-Bissaka. Imagine Wan-Bissaka in a back three instead of
yeah,
Mazraoui, alongside
no,
Mazraoui.
but but you know, Wan
It's a heavy
Bissaka.
question, guys. Heavy question.
No, I really rate Mazraoui. I think he's a very smart footballer.
Yeah,
I think he is. I think the expectations have grown a lot. I think he was never bought to be a first team player. I think he was bought to be a backup right back to Dalot or
Deputy.
like Luke Shaw, right? And by design, he's just been played, and it's fine. What Mazraoui is fine. You need Mazraouis, right? You just don't want him to start every game if you're going for the title, right?
no, but I think Wan-Bissaka in this Amorim system, tweak him a little bit. Don't play him as a wing back. Play him as a right
Center back,
right center back,
yeah,
alongside Maguire or whoever, alongside Euro.
yeah.
And that is a strong speed tackling wise. That's a strong back.
See, yeah,
back
and I
line.
agree with you on all points except for the number of times I've seen Wan Bissaka just leave his man on the far post and get just glued to the ball.
But that is only if he plays as a right back. If you tell him
Right.
to be right center back, do not move from your position. Forget offside trap.
I mean, it could work. It's a good thought experiment. I just don't think he has the.
I actually experimented that in the FIFA. I played him as center back, and every
Right.
time in FIFA also with the algorithm, he loses his man
Yeah.
because of his speed. He makes up with it.
Yeah.
Makes up.
But
for
you're
it.
still controlling Wan Bissaka. It's like when Mourinho said about Luke Shaw, it's Luke's body, it's my brain, right? So
Yeah.
so
But I think
in theory it should work because
Yeah.
physicality wise, he has everything, right? So it should work.
he's doing good in West. I don't think anybody has gave him a hard time in right back as
No, but speaking of Wan-Bissaka, there was a stat I think last season, like as a right back, he had the most successful tackles, ball when you win the ball back, what's that called?
uh,
Counter
Recovery, right?
Recovery.
Ball
Thank you.
recovery. Yeah.
Ball recovery, successful tackles, pass completions, counterattacks, chances created. He was top in Europe.
Right.
So that person, like I really had a lot of respect for Wan-Bissaka. And when he went to
Yeah.
West Ham, yeah, look at him. He already had like 3 or 4 assists this season.
That's true. I
Um,
mean, look, he's a decent player. I mean, he's a Premier League player. I just don't think in a progressive Manchester United team he would be the answer. But again, to Adil's point, if you have him as a center back, it could work, right? I mean,
in a back three, not a back two.
in a back
like,
three, yeah.
yeah.
No, back two, it's not. No,
Back two with Maguire. Hell no.
yeah, no. I think that's a recipe for disaster. But yeah, I mean, so going back to the Anthony question, I think it's a combination of everything, and I think it's best for him, and that's fine. I mean, and also the pressure of Manchester United, the 90 million price tag, it can't help, right? And
English media.
yeah, and then we've seen so many Dutch players, right? I mean, look at Hapko. Like he had a terrible first. Now he did have a very good season this year, but a lot of Dutch players who just tear it up in the Dutch league, they make the move to Premier League. It doesn't really translate well, right? I mean, Memphis is another one, right?
Well, now he's playing in Brazil.
Yeah, he's loving it in Brazil. He's just
loving it.
yeah,
It's
Why
easy
not?
stuff. Easy money.
easy money. It suits his lifestyle. Yeah,
suit his lifestyle.
He's a party animal.
Yeah, he's a part-time footballer, full-time rapper or something. Yeah, something like that.
Jadon Sancho also. We're gonna get some money out of Jadon Sancho unless
Freedom fighter.
Unless there is a clause that we're gonna pay you 5 million and we're not gonna do the deal.
I don't know who put that clause in.
Fardhan, you know about that clause? This is one of the best. This is
Yeah.
one of the best negotiations that Chelsea. This is like whoever the broker was, whoever Manchester United broker was, garbage. Yeah,
No, there's been a problem. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to talk about it. Like Adil and I spoke off camera about it, of the scouting problem and the negotiation problems. It's as if like high schoolers are doing it. Like it doesn't make sense. For example, the value of Anthony you just mentioned, and a couple
Right.
of other assets we have lost over time, they just don't make sense at
No,
all.
I mean, even if you look at the Casemiro signing, we chased Frankie De Jong all summer, and then we signed Casemiro. Now, they're both good players, but completely different profile, right? And then in Ten Hag's second season, he wanted Casemiro to be the Frankie De Jong, which was never going to happen. It just left Casemiro exposed, right? So I think, yeah, I think it's improved a lot. I honestly feel the last transfer window was one of our better ones. I wouldn't say was one of our best ones, but I thought we did more business. We had a lot of exits, and I think the players we got in are solid players. They haven't been remarkable hits, right? But I think they have been solid 6, 7 out of 10, right? Or at least
yeah. I
there's
mean,
potential.
Delete is injured right now, but yeah, Delete and Mazraoui goodbyes.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think Delit had a solid season. I wouldn't say it's 8 or 9, but a solid 6, 6.5, right?
yeah,
Mazraoui had better season than I expected. Xerxes, I think there's a lot of potential in Xerxes. Um, Ugarte still had a good season, I would say, hit and miss, but we'll see. And who was the other one? There was a fifth signing, Euro. That was just a
Euro, and
yeah,
then Dorgu in January.
yeah, Dorgo, Hayden, and Cheeto in January, right, or something.
Yeah,
Those three players, yeah. So I think by and large, the transfers have been much better.
yeah, I think so. And then I think this transfer window will. I mean, depends on Champions League.
Yeah,
Honestly, it
Champions
depends
League,
on the
where
Europa League and Champions
yeah,
League, and
yeah,
that's how it's gonna be. But
yeah.
yeah.
But it's
Well,
going to be a tough window, regardless. But I think we're moving fast. Like if you remember, prior to the Ineos, like we would spend a whole window chasing a player and then buy them for the price they asked for, right? I think
yeah.
Juan Bissaka was the classic example. Apparently, we did a dossier with 250 right backs we tracked, and then we negotiated all window and we paid Palace exactly what they asked for. I'm like, okay, couldn't we have done this on day one then? Right? So I think
That's why.
but we need to improve even more, right? And then we need to get lucky as well. We need one of these young players to be much better. Like if Cheeto starts putting in 5, 10 goals a season now, right?
Mhm.
Right. So like those are the things we need some of these players. That's where Barca came up trump, right?
I'm very high on Cheeto Obi.
Yeah,
Very high.
Yes.
I think he
It-
has. Let's put it this way: he looked more dangerous than Hoyland.
of course, and
Yeah,
he's gonna score
It's
more
I'm
goals.
laughing, but it's true.
He's gonna score more goals next season
yeah,
than 10. I think he's gonna score more than 10
yeah.
goals.
Question is, do you keep him or do you send him on loan?
No,
Right.
no, no.
So
Keep him. Of course,
I have
keep him.
to
yeah,
keep it.
You have to keep him
yeah. I mean,
because he
that's
has the
always
X
the
factor.
question, right? I think that's what you want. Like, if you do get a couple of strikers in, do you stunt his growth by keeping him, or do you send him out? Like, I think a season in championship I think the championship is massively underrated. I
It
think if
is.
you can cut it there, it's a grueling league, physical. You have to fight for it, right? If you can make it there, I think you can be a decent Premier League player for sure.
Yeah, we're coming up to the hour mark almost.
Hmm.
Further, what's the Moshla wrap up that you want to do? This is all out Manchester United.
Just your predictions for the semi-final, and then we can just wrap up. There's because I know that our quota for talking was only like 20, 25 minutes, but it is Manchester United. It is something we're born into, so we cannot stop talking about it. Sometimes it feels like the 1 hour is doesn't do justice to how
Hey
much we
man,
can talk about.
I can talk for hours and hours.
So yeah, I'm gonna end with predictions, and then we're gonna
Sure.
just say our goodbyes.
Yeah.
Prediction. for tomorrow. Like by the time people will watch it, it's probably gonna be later today.
Yeah.
Um, it's gonna be Manchester United going into the final. It's gonna be Manchester United versus Tottenham. I'm not sure if they're gonna win, but they're gonna win on aggregate. So they might lose 2-0 at Old Trafford, but or might lose 3-1 at Old Trafford, but they're gonna somehow sneak into the final. Um, but for the final, which is gonna be on the 21st of May, that team will be fully charged up. Whoever they face, probably Tottenham. So I think they're gonna give everything for the final. The chances are like 80-20, so 80% they're going to lose, 20% they're going to beat Spurs. But I think this team is a cup team, so they're going to be, for finals, they're going to be charged up.
Fazli, what do you think?
So I really want that golden Europa League just to rub it into the faces of all the rival fans that we finished 17th. But I think we're gonna lose 2-1 tomorrow. I think they'll score, but I think we'll get a chance. I think they'll go 2-0 up, and then we'll probably get a goal back. But it's gonna be what Fergie said, squeaky bum time, right? So,
Squeaky bomb time.
yeah. The final. That's. I think a lot depends on if we can get Ahmad back to fitness. If we can get Ahmad fully back,
I was literally telling him that 2 hours
yeah,
ago.
yeah. I think if we can, you can just see even that day when he came on, it was such a difference in quality, right? On the
Definitely.
right hand side, especially after seeing Dallo, right? So I think if we can get Ahmad back into the team with some kind of form and fitness, I think we have a shot.
Definitely. The
And
same thing I was saying. One thing can change. If the one good tackle, or if you see that one person come off the bench and do those moves that Ahmad does, there's a big uplift in the way the team moves and the belief sets in. So I can totally see that happening
yeah,
if he's at full fitness in the final. But yeah, for
yeah,
I'm just worried about getting scored on many times tomorrow. The only thing that I'm worried about, my prediction is United winning by a scratch. That's my
yeah,
scare because I'm always scared when I watch United play.
right.
But I totally see them going to the final, inshallah. But I do not want Spurs in the final because Postecoglou has been very smart in a way that he just wanted to scrape by the Premier League with securing 1 point, and his whole focus was on Europa the whole time. I don't think anybody put that into perspective as much because without the likes of Son, who's been the talisman, but let's face it, Son hasn't been that good this season, but they have been pushing through. So, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
and
definitely do a final preview with you, Fazle, if we qualify.
yeah, no, absolutely. I'm definitely in for that. But yeah, I mean the final, it all depends on, yeah, I don't want Spurs. I'm still holding out for my Bodo Glimt brothers there on their plastic pitch. Hopefully they can, and Spurs can Spurs it up. But yeah, I'm scared of
Spurs it
Premier
up.
League opposition. Yeah, I'm scared of Premier League opposition, and they've already beaten us 3 times. Now, it'd be funny, and I was telling Adil before that it'd be the most Spurs thing to beat us 3 times and lose to us in the final, right?
That
So
would be terrible. Like the amount of
yeah,
memes and the trolls they would face,
yeah,
it's gonna be insane.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. What gives me hope is the Williams brothers are not in tomorrow, so I think that
Definitely,
definitely
yeah.
changes.
That's a
But
ray of
at this,
sunshine.
but at the same time, right? Like you have no unknown elements in there, and yeah, I have very less faith in this team. So
For sure, for sure. So we
yeah,
can wrap up. I guess, Fazli, thank you so much for, in Toronto and everything with your busy life, making time for
no,
Football Moshla podcast.
thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure, and hope to do more of these in the future.
Sure.
Definitely, we would need
Yeah,
more, and we hope to bring you on for the final preview, summer
yeah,
transfer window, spicy rumor gossip, transfer rumors, and all
absolutely,
that. So we want to do the
absolutely.
whole shebang.
Yeah, and if you want to break some news about Manchester United on this podcast, that's there too during the
You
summer
could you
transfer
could do
window.
the here we goes here too.
Yeah, like
What was the other one? This other kid started. Here we land,
here we
or
land.
no, there we land, or something like that. Yeah, yeah,
M- We can do what Moshla stuff like Moshla rumors, like the
yeah.
Moshla transfer window,
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
Something like that, right? But you
Spice
can
it
you
up.
can break
Spice
some
it up.
news. Who's Manchester United signing as a goalkeeper? Uh, that nobody saw it coming.
Yeah, for
Definitely,
sure.
we could be the first. You never
Yeah,
know. Sky's the
yeah.
limit, guys. But thank you so much again, guys. So we're gonna wrap up here. Thank you, Fazle, again. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching and thank you for listening, guys. We hope to see you in the next episode.
Thank
So,
you.
from us, all of us here at Football Moshla podcast, have a great day and enjoy your European football.
And please subscribe.